The place is somewhere in Morocco. The time was midday, the time of Dhuhr. And what happened is a 5-year-old kid fell in a well. The depth of that well is more than 100 feet. And the deeper it gets, the narrower it is. And this is a 5-year-old kid. Since midday of Tuesday till this moment I'm talking about, this 5-year-old boy is still there. It's winter time, so it's cold. It's so tight, so he barely can breathe. They even give him oxygen down there. He's hungry, he's thirsty. Yes, they give him some water, but the whole situation is very dangerous. Add to that, he had a small injury on his head because he fell down that well. 3 days, more than 72 hours. And everyone, and the government, everyone is trying to do their best to save this kid's life. And then I thought about it and I said, where is the wisdom? What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala trying to tell us? There is no more revelation. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the rest revelation has come to an end by the death of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So Allah sends some signs and messages to remind us about Himself, to know that He is there. So what is the wisdom? What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying to us here? How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sets the scene in this time, in this era that we are living in, while everyone is on the social media. You barely find people in the real world. So over there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent this message. So first thing, that this incident made people to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because no one is able to reach that boy. The soil collapses. It's a very dangerous situation. It's so tight, nobody can go down there to get him. It's very difficult. And a country with all of its means, they're doing their best to get him out. So everyone is making dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would save this child and send him back safe to his family. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ud'uni, make dua, call upon me, astajib lakum, and I shall respond to you. This incident reminds us about the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, and how his siblings placed him in the well. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was the one who saved him. This reminds us about Yunus alayhi salam in the stomach of the whale, in the darkness. And same situation there. He is in the well, it's dark, it's tight, it's scary. If 1 million Imam on the Fridays everywhere around the world will try to remind people about the story of Musa and Isa, Yunus, about what did they see and what kind of troubles that they went through, they would never be able to put it in that scene as this situation with this kid. It would never reach everywhere, because the people who comes to the masjid, they are, most of the time, they are the same. Like the faces I see, like 70, 80, 90% of them are those who come every Friday. But there are some people out there, they are Muslims, they never come. They will never hear this speech. But they are on the social media, scrolling through their Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and they see that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this message to reach them, no matter they attend the masjid or not. This situation also reminds us about how weak we are, and how we have no might and no power and no ability without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's aid and support. This whole mankind, what can we do for him here? All what we can do is ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those who are there, what are they doing? Those who are closer to him, what can they do? It's been more than 3 days. So even though they see him, they hear him, yet they're doing their best to help, but so far it's not working. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is closer to him than them. Allah said in the Quran, وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ, and we are closer to him, to the human being, min حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ, more than his jugular vein, more than the veins in his body. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with his power, with his support, with his mercy, is closer to us more than ourselves. It's all about Allah's help and Allah's support. O mankind, Allah is saying, this is an example about those gods that you are calling other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They can never create a fly. Then he said, no, this is even big. If a fly is to snatch and take anything and fly away from them, they will never be able to take it back from the fly. ضعف الطالب والمطلوب. The seeker and the seeked, both of them are weak. Allah is Al-Qawi. Allah is the all-powerful. This incident tells us and reminds us of an act of worship, which is to complain to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That when you are in a situation, do not complain to the people. Why? Either you are complaining to someone whom he loves you and he is going to be depressed for you, or you complain to someone who doesn't care, or could be an enemy, and then you make him to joy and bring happiness to him that you are troubled. Or you complain to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Yaqub alayhi salam said, when he lost Yusuf alayhi salam, he said, إِنَّمَا أَشْكُو بَثِّي وَحُزْنِي إِلَى اللَّهِ. I only complain and tell my sadness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Yusuf and Musa alayhi salam, when he found himself in the land of Madian, stranger, hungry, scared and weak, he said, oh Allah, I am in dire need for your help. And Nuh alayhi salam, after almost 1,000 years calling his people to Allah, they didn't accept his message. What did he do? He complained to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, oh Allah, I have called my people to you day and night, but the more I call them to your way, the more that they run away from me. And this is Yunus alayhi salam in the stomach of the whale, when he found himself there by himself. فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ, Allah said, and he called in the darkness, لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنْتَ, there is no God except you. Subhanak, be exalted. إِنِّي كُنْتُ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ, verily I am from the wrongdoers. And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, on his way back from At-Ta'if, he said, Allahumma ilayka ashku da'fa quwwati. Oh Allah, to you I am complaining about my weakness. Wa hawani ala nas, and how my place is insignificant by my own people, to whom you are leaving me alone. Ila man takiluni, to the enemies, to strangers who are enemies to me, or to my own people who do not believe in me. And this is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made for him Al-Isra wa Al-Mi'raj and called him up to the heavens to console him and to comfort him. So this is some of the points that I was able to extract and could see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pushing us to him. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let's say that how Allah is calling us to him. But when you call people, most of the time they just don't come. So Allah in some situation, He is pushing people to His way. The Prophet ﷺ said, it's very strange and astonishing how some people are being pulled to the Jannah, they were put in chains. So Allah sometimes, like what you want is taking you to the fire. So Allah puts you in chains and drags you into the direction that you don't want it, but this is the way He's going to take you to the Jannah. نسأل الله جل وعلا أن يرد هذا الصبي الصغير إلى أهله سالما معافى اللهم رده إلى أهله سالما غانما يا رب العالمين واجعله قرة عين لوالديه وللمسلمين اللهم اغفر ذنوبنا واستر عيوبنا وتجاوز عن سيئاتنا وارفع درجاتنا واجعلنا في عليين واكتبنا في المهديين وارزقنا شفاعة خير النبيين اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك يا مولانا سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات آمين وصل اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا وأقم الصلاة.